Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Traitors Talk with me, Will from the Traitors. We are going to be discussing episode 2 and 3 of the new season of the Traitors. I can't get over it. I cannot get over it. Emmy, what do you think?
I thought it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I completely binge watched it. I was one of those people that stayed up after episode 1 and now I was like 2, 3, let's do this on iPlayer. What on earth? I mean, I don't even know where to start. What did you think?
Do you know what? I've lit myself up a bit darker today because I feel like the evilness is coming in these episodes. Obviously, we're going to start with episode 2, but for me, a lot has happened that I sort of thought was going to happen in a good way. So first of all, the traitors were under scrutiny at the end of episode 1. So we had Harry that was getting looked at by Diane, and all of a sudden she's gone on another tangent and left him alone, which is great for Harry. Right?
Love it.
And we find out Miles is the traitor.
We called it. We called it.
I was desperate for him to become a traitor. Reason being is the fact that, Paul and the rest of them are really ruthless. So it'd be nice to see somebody who's going to have these dilemmas with his own morals. And I'm so excited to see his journey as a traitor.
Paul is diabolical.
Oh my God. And the thing is, everybody, I was saying this to everybody. I was like, listen, you thought I was harsh, yeah? You thought I was bad. You wait to season 2. There's going to be people that are going to be so much darker and just don't care. And I was like, Paul just does not care.
I know. No, he's not bothered. It's like when they got rid of Aubrey, he was like, oh, delicious. Oh, think it tastes so sweet or something. It was like, are you actually okay? What?
Yeah, he's just, I think he's playing a brilliant game. I think he's cemented himself as probably the strongest traitor at the moment out of the 4 that we've got. We're going to rank the traitors of who is the most powerful at the moment. I would put Paul at the top.
I'm
going to put Miles as second, and I'll explain this later on.
Okay.
I'm going to put Harry as number 3, and then Ash at number 4. Diane is just on it. Diane's on it.
Yeah.
She is my favourite faithful by far.
She's amazing. So Ash, I don't even think should be on the power ladder. I think she should be on a down ladder into the cellar.
Oh my God, that is so deep.
She is a rubbish.
Bottom of the snake.
Bless her, she can't handle it. She cannot deal with it, with the pressure of it, I don't think.
And do you know what? As somebody who's been on, the pressure is so much harder than what people think. And when you go in there, you think this is going to be so easy. It's the little things that are really hard. And when I say little things, I mean breakfast. Breakfast is by far the hardest thing, unless you're being accused at the round table. Going into breakfast, you're going into acting class and acting mode. You're going in there pretending that Paul, Paul was brilliant at it.
So Paul said a bit to the camera about his technique, and a big part of his strategy is the breakfast thing. So he was saying that he's going to come in and his technique is going to be palpable relief, just joy that he's there, relief that he's there. He was like, I might even get some tears going. And then, you know what, he did it. It looked great. And then hilariously, there was a, the VT of another contestant, I can't remember who, but being like, oh, you could tell Paul was so happy to be there. And it was like, it's working.
2 people. I think it was 2 people, yeah.
So it's working like a charm. What a good, do you think impressive strategy there, would you say?
Amazing. So with me, it was similar. It was just go in there, and it is method acting. You truly believe that you're a faithful, and it's such a powerful breakfast. People are looking at you more at breakfast than most of the times of the day. So it's one of them times to really get it down. And do you know what I loved? He did this really prolonged wait when he came in. He's like, it was hilarious. And I was like, oh, it's amazing.
See, now I think that Harry is really following your gameplay a little bit here, Wilf, because he said, I'm going to do the thing where I convince myself that I'm a faithful and I'm going to act accordingly. And I remember that's what you did.
Yeah, so I had the whole method acting, just play as a faithful. And I've got this little thing that do not be the person that plants the seeds, but be that somebody who waters the plants. Yeah. So episode 2 at the end, we see Sonia get eliminated, and it's because of her outgoingness. When you're too outgoing, people see you as a threat in both ways. The traitors see you as a threat if you're turning people against certain people. They see the power, and then with faithfuls, they're like, you've got too much to say for yourself. And Harry's really got this down at the moment, where he's not saying too much and he's not saying nothing, which is like a perfect sort of level to be at for him. That's why I'm really impressed with Harry at the moment. The only reason I'll put Miles up before Harry in my little power ladder, right, is because Miles, he hardly got much airtime. I forgot he was a traitor.
Yeah.
I don't know if I forgot he was a traitor at the time. I was like, oh my God, he's a traitor, and he's just flying under the radar.
He really is. I mean, there's no suspicion. He's not even being too quiet, because I think Alyssa's gameplay was to just stay quiet, and I don't even think he's doing that. He's saying a lot when he's spoken to. But it's like, yeah, I just think he's so convincing.
Yeah, I because when we seen him, we predicted it, because when he came in the breakfast room and the eye contact was weird, he was strange. So I was like, I hope he doesn't crumble. And he came in and he was cool and everyone believes him, and he's just this nice guy who floats around, be positivity. It's amazing.
Absolutely. You know, something else I noticed in episode 2 as well, before we move on to episode 3, because episode 3 was just wild.
Oh my God. Yeah.
What something we talked about when we talked about episode 1, a misstep you think you and the other traitors took was that you really avoided each other when you were with other people, and you thought that, you know, that's something that people could pick up on, that they never, you know, spent time talking to each other. That's something these traitors are not doing. They're spending time together, and they're also planting seeds of doubt about people that aren't spending time with one another. So Harry and Paul were there going, oh, you haven't seen Andrew and Anthony sat with each other, have you? Interesting. And I was like, that's exactly what you said they should be doing. And it's
so important. Like, because they've been able to watch series 1, you sort of see patterns of behavior where you're like, okay, these people aren't congregating. There must be something wrong. There is still an issue though. I still feel like they started to do it and they've started to not do it again. So it's like, it's really hard to play this game.
Yeah, no, I know. What did you think about Aubrey being murdered? Do you think that was a good decision?
Do you know what? I think, this is going to sound really harsh, right? When somebody goes, everybody's going to love me, I instantly don't like that person sometimes. For me, it's a cringe moment. And when that happened and you act like that, people are instantly going to go, yeah, do you know what? Actually, let's just, like, it just puts people off. Yeah, it just puts people off, I think.
It's interesting how personal opinions on other people's personalities comes into it, because you also saw that at the round table for episode 2, where Diane is accusing Anthony of being super rude to her in the lineup. He wouldn't let her into the row when she wanted to get into the row. But that doesn't make him a traitor or faithful. I mean, that happened before they were even selected, but it was her just dislike that made her really go for him. So I mean, I think it's interesting, because it's kind of like, it's not even to say whether that person's a faithful or a traitor. It's like, that's just personal preference, which obviously clearly has a big part to play in it as well.
Massive part. Like, at the end of the day, it's the people that I like the most, you sort of last a bit longer. And the thing is, it's not even about disliking. It's somebody might be just an awkward person and they might be like, oh, they're a bit awkward, they could be a traitor. And it's so bad when it comes to that. It's quite sad, actually. That
I felt sorry for Anthony, actually, because it was just such a pile-on and he hadn't really done anything.
So the round table, right? This little quote, I've written it down. Basically, I've got nothing to go off, so I'm just going to go from what I've heard round the table, right? That is herd mentality quote right there. That is me going, I don't know, I'm just going to go with the majority, mate. Saying that, we'll talk about episode 3's roundtable, but that was herd mentality at its best.
I've got to say, though, I do think that Sonia made herself a bit of a target. You know, she was there for a good time, not a long time. And I don't think she defended herself very well either, to be honest.
Can we just talk about the amount of memes that have come out of Sonia knitting in bed?
Oh, my God.
With her face mask on.
There is nothing I love more. This is Twitter at its peak. Like, I love social media when the Traitors is on so much. Really brings everyone together, I think. Right. Should we talk episode 3?
Yes, please.
Oh my God, what an episode. What a cliffhanger. Just like everything about it. But I mean, let's start from the very beginning. Now, Kyra was one of you called her out as someone who you think could have really lasted the test of time. But I suppose you can't do anything about getting murdered.
Do you know what? I see her as a really strong character. And I think that I would have never tipped her to win, but I thought she would have lasted longer. But the thing is, she was too strong of a player. Like, if you're too strong, you get so threatened, albeit by people that are outspoken. You're like, oh my God, this person's way too much. I need to get rid of this person. It really puts people on edge. And I think that's what she did. It was a good decision, I think.
Too savvy for her own good. Can we talk about the biggest plot twist ever? Just like the way she delivered it as well was absolutely brilliant. Like, I screamed. Like,
it was hilarious.
And I think I was like with my husband, just like, it was amazing.
These moments are like the greatest moments on TV. Like, and the fact is, we didn't know from the beginning, which made it even better. So it was a surprise to us. And she was like, to Paul, they think we're I'm your mum, and he was just and they're laughing about it. It's hilarious.
Do you think the lie will last, or do you think it will come out that they are mother and son? Because it could be brilliant. Like, they could get to the end with it.
Do you know what the problem is with Diane? People are already voting for her, and it's really early on. And it's my biggest fear because she's my favourite person to watch at the moment. Like, I love Miles as a traitor. I love Paul as a traitor. But the most entertaining person to watch for me is Diane. She's amazing. So I'm really hoping that they don't and she stays in for a really long time. I don't want them to win. I'm not going to lie.
You want a traitor to win?
Only reason being is because I want a traitor to win, and that's just that I'm always going to want that. Once a traitor wins, then I can go back to being equal and be like, cool, let me see.
Anyway, we digress. That mother and son twist, awesome. And like, I think they're both playing a really good game. I think so long as he doesn't slip up and call her mum, they could really go the distance with that.
And there's enough people there, right? So there's enough people for the traitors to leave in that will get themselves banished. So people like Zach is hilarious. Having your last supper.
I know. You know what? I actually don't think that Diane will get murdered. She'll be banished before she's murdered because she's too much of a controversial figure. And yeah, you're right. You've got people like Zach who are cancelling themselves out. Like, why is he doing this? He's gone in with absolutely no game plan whatsoever.
Well, what you do, right? You look at where people are looking at. So as a traitor, you look at the other people that are looking at. So, for instance, they've got three. Honestly, say if Ash goes, because they're in a little bit of a weird situation now, right? Say if Ash goes, the other three traitors, they have at least 3 days of people to banish to get banished themselves. When you think about it, so you've got Zach, you've got Diane as well. I'd say she's on there, and you've also got Anthony. So they're the three they're for that 3 days of survival of just using them lot.
You're also forgetting Brian, who had...
Oh my God, I forgot about Brian!
Something of a nervous breakdown. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Is he actually okay? Can you give us an insight into what was going on in his mind there?
The only thing I can compare it to is the final when I got outed and I just panicked and you say everything and you just have a breakdown. The table got to him, right? And the thing is, right, he goes, the best one is, he goes, I want to start. And then he just says a little thing, I'm not a sheep quote sort of thing. And then don't say anyone's name. I'm like, what are you doing at the beginning? And then he goes, I want to finish it. So, and I didn't understand because I think it's his slang for where he comes from. I didn't understand what he was trying to say.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone. No, I didn't understand either.
I don't think he did himself.
It was the weirdest thing because it was like, what are you? You just putting attention on yourself like twice. Do you want to go? Like, I think, to be honest with you, I think it was that he got voted. Or was it during the task he got voted
biggest sheep? Yeah,
biggest sheep. And I think that he was so offended by that he wanted to like air his grievances. He completely forgot he was playing a game.
I felt really sorry for him because he did say at the beginning, he goes, I don't care that you all call me a sheep, and then had a breakdown. I was like, oh my God, like you obviously do care. And then at the end, he said a little quote. Listen to this quote, right? He goes, I thought we were playing a game. I'm supposed to be having fun. It's just like, oh, I feel so sorry for him. And the thing is, knowing he's faithful, and he's just literally sticking himself up.
He absolutely lost the plot, and and it was I mean, hilarious to watch, but I mean, God, I bet he's watching this back just being like, I can't bear it. But we were left on such a cliffhanger, so let's talk about it. So, you know, I don't think it actually happened during your game that there was a tie at all, was there? So this is
No, there was never a recount, no.
And this was a real spread of votes as well. There really wasn't. Well, there wasn't like a main
This
thing.
is exactly what I was about to say. There was zero herd mentality in the last one. So we've gone from super, I'm just going to vote whoever, to just a random bunch of votes from like 2 people getting voted 3 and then 2, 3, and it was just. I really like that though.
Why do you think that is?
I think people are just having their own opinions on stuff. So I think people are feeling like, oh, we're just doing herd mentality, not really working as such.
I mean, I think it might be something about how everyone's seen season 1 now as well. So it's kind of like, you know, they know, oh, we're doing the herd mentality thing. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be just sticking to our guns. Whereas I think last series, you guys didn't have that. Ash is up against the chopping block here. So basically, it's going to be either Brian or Ash leaving. It's down to Anthony. Who do you think he's going to pick?
I think Ash. I think it sounds really sad. It's really sad actually, because I really like Ash because of her story, but I think this is the end for her. I really do. And it's sad. I just don't see. She did do quite good defense though. She did defend herself okay. It's all down to Anthony. And will it save Anthony? Will it save him from people going for him? Because he's had quite a few people like Diane, like her going for him all the time. Will it, if he gets rid of Ash and Ash is a traitor, do you think they'll be like, oh, he's just trying to scapegoat her to save himself because he's a traitor, or he's just done a really good thing. We found a traitor. So. And we didn't find a traitor that early on. We just got rid of so many faithfuls.
Yeah, you got rid of so many. I've got to say, what do you think about Harry and Paul turning on Ash as early as they did? Because I don't actually think it was necessary. I reckon they could have gone with Brian and it would have been fine.
It was the way Paul said it in his interview as well. Like, she was playing weak, so there's consequences. That was ruthless. But I think, personally, it's a bit too early to turn on your traitors, just for the fact is their numbers in votes for you. If you vote together as traitors, they've got 4 votes around the table. And then you've got your little groups. They say every person has 2 people with them or 1 person that votes with them, their own little groups. It works really well. So I don't think it was necessary because it was another tie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was basically that they had to vote again. So they didn't vote the first time. They had to vote again. And it's between her and Brian. So it's like they could have stuck with Brian. Brian voted Paul, which was incredible because he actually was the only person that thought Paul was a traitor. So why didn't Paul just turn the table and vote him back, and no one would have been any the wiser?
Brian stressed me out because Brian said, and it really annoyed me actually, he said, I'm going to say, Paul, I wanted to say it in this part and not in the actual discussion part, and I'll tell you after why. So he's like, you're saying Paul's name, but he's definitely not going to get voted out. You didn't need to vote for him there. You might as well just speak to him off. It was all a bit weird. And
Brian's lost it. Brian's
lost it. Oh, but I think they did it a bit too early. They could have waited a couple more days, maybe, just to see how Ash was getting on.
Well, especially if she actually does stay in and Brian goes home, because now she's going to know there is zero trust there. Like, it could really cause problems within the traitor gang.
And if Brian goes, right, it's gonna be hilarious. She's gonna go back in there. It's gonna be so awkward, and they're gonna be like, "Sorry, we didn't know what was happening."
Hiya, sorry about that.
And it's like the guys knew that, like they said that they had this eye contact. They must have counted votes wrong in their head and thought this person's going to vote for Ash, this person's going to vote for Ash. Realistically, he got it wrong. He probably thought it was going to be the other way. It's not like, oh, I'm going to vote you out because you're a bad traitor. Like, I think he wants to be seen as this, like, ruthless criminal, like, what you call a villain, like a villain, but he is really good at it. So many people are calling him, like, sociopath. I'm like, it's like a game, man. Remember, it's just a game, and he's just got himself into a role.
I can't wait to see who stays in. I love this show so much. It's like, obviously we've got a cliffhanger till next week. Final prediction, who do you think's going, Wilf? Is it Brian or is it Ash?
I think Ash. I think it's sad to say, but I think Ash is gonna go, and then they murder straight after as well, don't they? So like, no idea who they're gonna murder either. Like, I have no clue.
Well, just one detail I wanted to say about Ash as well is that once again, I think we were very right with Tracy, the clairvoyant, being as perceptive as she is, because she has got her number. Like she she's saying she's avoiding eye contact with me. She's nervous around me. She doesn't like I'm getting a weird energy. She's blocked me, and it's like, you're so right. She is doing all those things.
Then she proceeded to cold read Anthony, and it was so cringe. On
She's not
Ash,
wrong.
she's still not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, it did form him. So, I reckon I'm going to go for Brian. I reckon Anthony will maybe have gone for Brian. Because I don't know whether Anthony and Ash got along all right. I think maybe they did. And I'm not so sure whether Anthony was friendly with Brian as much. So I'm not 100% sure. I need to go back, but I'm thinking if it's between the two of them, maybe Brian will have the edge, and he's just completely done it himself because he wasn't a suspect before he went into that room.
Anthony's been accused for an invisible biscuit. Like, there's nothing really there. It's just they don't like it. Like, they just don't like who he is. So he might take the whole. I think he's just really struggled in this round table and have empathy on it for him and maybe save him. Like, because he seems like that kind of guy. Because you'll feel it. Because he's like, I've been under the radar for no reason. So is this guy. Or he's just like, I get bad vibes off Ash too. And Ash, because Ash was sitting there quite weirdly in the kitchen, weren't she?
When he was getting his.
She didn't say much, and she was just all a bit anxious and strange.
She was really stressed out. So she's not hiding it well. I don't think she's going to last. But like you said, it could just be she gets through this round table, she defends herself well, and then the heat is off for a little bit. I mean, who knows?
If she survives, she could last very, very long. I always say, if you go under it, like, the radar really early on, like, this is why I doubt Paul. I don't think Paul will win. Oh, he might. I'm like, he could win. But he's so strong at the moment. How is he going to deal when people do finally turn on him? How is he going to feel like, and how is he going to defend himself? Because Ash actually did really well. So if she does defended herself, I think afterwards people will just give her a break, I think, and then just leave her alone. So who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? I have to wait and see. So that is everything from Wilf and I today on Traitors Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Please leave your comments, your theories, who you think is out next week. We can't wait to hear from you all. And feel free to like and subscribe and head over to hellomagazine.com for more news about the Traitors in the meantime. Press the notification bell, right, Will?
Do it right now.